All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. It's going to be a fun one today, recapping Week 1 of the NFL and more of our Quarterback Survivor Series and more. All right, how we doing, guys? How's been your first week of NFL back?
Oh, man, it's so good to have football back.
It was about what I was expecting. 11 years straight.
You know what? No, this year was a little different than what you usually expect because you had Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday, and then Monday. You had 4 days of NFL this week, which, I mean, that's the first time ever. That was true. Exciting.
Yeah, I think Tom's more referring to his Colts losing because they've lost Week 1 the last 11 years straight.
Yep.
Speaking of, the Bears won, which makes Caleb Williams the fourth ever quarterback to be drafted first overall and win his first game.
You know what else? Other stat that Caleb Williams also put up this year. He was also the first person to ever have under 150 total yards of offense and still win a game since 2006. You want to hear his stats? I got his stats. We can move on to that.
We don't have to get there yet. That discussion will definitely come later.
All right. Starting off Week 1 on Thursday night, we had Kansas and Baltimore. We guessed Kansas City, and we were right.
Dude, this game was a perfect game to have to start your season off. These were honestly the two best teams in the NFL facing off in the first game for the first week. Most everybody's healthy at this point. That was such a good game. I loved watching it. It was so nice to have it back.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of a more exciting pairing to start off and, kick off the season. It was great.
Yeah. And Kansas City barely pulled it out, too. It was at the end of the game. They went back and forth the whole time. Baltimore's defense held up really, really well.
Didn't Baltimore almost get the tying touchdown on the last play and he was out of bounds?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, this game was much tighter than the score will lead you to believe. This was a nail-biter.
Yeah. It was a great start to the season. You couldn't ask for a better start.
Yeah.
Then on Friday night, the game I didn't get to watch because of high school football. Oh, well.
Indiana.
Green Bay versus Philadelphia, and we picked Philly. We were right with Saquon Barkley's hat trick.
Yeah. Wait, hold up, Tom. Why is high school football beating out the NFL here?
When it's my niece doing the halftime show, I have to go see it.
Okay, that's acceptable. Just say this is the first ever game in South America. It's kind of a big moment in the NFL history. So,
Yeah.
But I will say that I don't watch many high school football games, but this one was super cool because it was my daughter's high school completely blanked their opponent 49-0.
Oh, jeez, that's awesome.
And the funny part was we got there 5 minutes before halftime, and they scored 3 touchdowns in that 5 minutes we were there.
That's awesome. Anyway, so the Eagles beat the Packers in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy game. So I feel so bad for Saquon Barkley. Now, I know he had a great game, and he had 3 touchdowns and everything else. But the man grew up an Eagles fan, and his first play as a Philadelphia Eagle, he falls flat on his face and loses 5 yards without even being touched. I can't think of a more embarrassing thing. I would have died. I would have not gotten off the turf. I would have just laid there. They would have had to stretcher me out of that place because I would have been. There's no way I was looking up from the ground.
So I could actually think of something that would have been more embarrassing than the way that happened Friday, and that's had it actually been in Philadelphia.
You know what? You're right.
Since they were in Brazil, was it embarrassing? Yes. Would he have been taunted endlessly by the Philadelphia crowd had they been actually at home in Philadelphia? Also, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, that's the only thing that would have made it worse. It's the only saving grace that it happened in Brazil.
Yeah.
Then we move on. Oh.
See, honestly, when I was watching this game, I actually got scared for Philly because their first 2 drives ended up picks, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And the first one was a terrible pass by Jalen Hurts. Like, it wasn't even one of those like where the receiver missed the catch and it's a pick. No, it was a bad throw, like really, really bad throw. And I'm like, okay, first season, bad throw, we'll get out of the way. He does it again the next drive. I'm like, whoa, this ain't starting off very well.
Well, no, the second one was a fumble. It was a fumbled snap. And he had 2 fumbled snaps in this game. One of them was during a tush push for a touchdown that we ended up turning into a field goal. I'm really frustrated by this because it's not like Juergens is a new player. Like, he was Kelsey's backup. Why are they this not coordinated? Like, I'm so glad he never had to take over for Kelsey, because, like, imagine that would have happened in the middle of a season. Like, and all of a sudden we would have had a center that was that bad at snapping the ball.
Yeah.
I was really frustrated by this.
That's right. My bad. It wasn't the interception. Yeah, because that fumble, when they showed the replay, he wasn't even looking at him. He was, like, making a change. He was doing some sort of an audible or switching something, looking off to the right, and it just hit him in the face, and it bounced off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I was scared when this game first started because of that.
Yep.
But it turned into a really good game after that.
It did. And Philadelphia came out on top, which is the way it should have been.
It's always a plus.
And the thing is it wasn't one of those games where it's like they lost in spite of themselves, or they won in spite of themselves, like last year, where it was like every week we were asking, like, I don't really know how they won, but they did finally win. Like, the field was getting to them. Like, and then they figured it out, they played well, and then won. It was a good game.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I think the Eagles figured out how to run on that damn field before Green Bay did, and that's what gave them a huge advantage towards the end.
Yeah, this is the one problem with playing on a stadium. It's playing on a field that's meant for soccer, because it's not. The field itself isn't built to withstand football players and making those kind of cuts. I've seen a lot of different videos talking about this, and while it's the same like grass concoction that they use in Green Bay and Philadelphia between like the turf and the actual grass, it's maintained totally differently for soccer players. And so it's not meant to take that kind of abuse that football players would do to it. So that's the one kind of downside we had to this game. And we're going to have that in London and probably also in Germany when we go too.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because what it is, I think, is the dirt's looser. You got less guys on the field, and this is just from practicing and from being out there. You got less guys on the field to begin with, so they're not packing the dirt down as much. But also think about what they're doing. Like, soccer players are pretty much sprinting and then standing and then sprinting again. Whereas football players are smashing into one another and digging their feet into the ground. It's very, very different types of footwork, and of course it's not going to work. Like, we need to start recognizing that, and I guess bring our own turf or something. I don't know how to fix it, because I love the globalization of football, but we got to fix it.
Yeah, or have them go train out on the beach or something.
Yeah. Beach football, the new summer sport.
There we go.
There you go.
It'd be perfect.
Oh man, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
For at least a week.
All right, so that brings us into the 1 p.m. slot on Sunday, starting off with New England versus Cincinnati. Well, we were banking on Cincinnati for this one, and we were wrong.
Yeah.
New England takes it 16-10. Moving on, Carolina at New Orleans. We nailed this one. Not nearly as bad as it was. We didn't think it was going to be anywhere near that bad.
Yeah.
47-10 was a pretty bad one. And
I'm starting to think Carolina should be relegated to either NCAA Division I or the Canadian Football League, one of the two.
Hold up a sec, because I didn't watch this game and I haven't watched any highlights of it. Does anyone know how Derek Carr managed to get only 200 yards, but the team scored 47 points?
They ran.
That's a lot of running.
Once they kind of opened it up, they kind of just spread it out to everybody. So, it was one of those, Oprah Winfrey moments. You get a touch. You get a touch. You get a rushing attempt. You get to throw the ball. No, you go throw it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's one of those, we can put the third string in, and it doesn't really matter.
All right. Then we come to Houston at Indianapolis. 11 straight Week 1 losses for McCults.
So hold on, I want to talk about this game because this was kind of one that we really watched a lot of, and pretty much we watched the whole game. This was a really, really good game. They lost by 2.
It was.
And they were in it the whole time. They may have lost the game for the 11th year, which does suck, I'm not going to lie. But this was one of those where it really could have gone either way, and Indy put up a fight against one of, I think, the top 5 teams in the league, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They were there. And that's why I think if they can kind of hold that up for a good part of the season, I think they're going to be a wild card team. They showed us a lot this week, man. Week 1 does kind of suck because you kind of want to get out good, but they hung in with the best team in the division. It makes me think they're going to walk through Jacksonville and Tennessee. So this was one of my favorite games of the week, to be honest. This was one of my 3 games of the week.
I have to admit I liked it too, but I'm biased. We predicted Houston, except for me. I waffled at the finish line there and fell back on Indy, and I was wrong.
You always got to back your team, though, in that situation. If you're that split, just pick your team.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I landed. Jacksonville at Miami. We picked Miami. We nailed it. Tennessee at Chicago. Pete and I went for Chicago. Adam was leaning more towards Tennessee, and Chicago took it 24-17.
I also want to make a note that there was no offensive touchdowns scored by Chicago. They had a special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and a bunch of field goals.
Yep, that is true. But hey, Caleb Williams' first time throwing the football to a guy crossing the line was a 2-point conversion. When's that ever happened?
Never, because most for number 1 overall picks are better quarterbacks than that.
Caleb Williams was absolutely instrumental in this victory, I'm telling you. All right, then we move on to Minnesota at New York Giants. Pete and I, Minnesota. Adam was leaning more towards Giants. Minnesota takes it 28-6.
I still feel that New York's being punished for wearing those god-awful jerseys.
And they should be. Yeah. That was awful.
I never knew the Montreal Canadiens played football.
It reminded me of, not style-wise, but the reaction to them reminded me of the time the Eagles wore their blue and yellow throwbacks.
Oh, God.
It's baby powder blue and French's yellow mustard yellow. It's just
and, Michigan Wolverine helmets.
Yeah, and I think Jeffrey Lurie came out and said, apologized and was I will never use these again.
Yeah. I like some throwback jerseys. These were not. The Phillies was terrible. New York's is terrible. Pittsburgh's is okay. Those black and gold striped ones, those aren't terrible.
No, they look like bumblebees.
They're better than powder blue and French's mustard, all right?
Yeah, but they're still
by
bad.
far. By far.
I didn't say they were great. I said for throwbacks, they're okay. When we get to the 50s.
All right, Arizona at Buffalo. Pete and I were Buffalo. Adam said Arizona. Buffalo takes it 34-28. Tighter game than I was expecting, but still good.
I'm honestly shocked that Arizona put up 28 points.
All Pittsburgh at Atlanta. All three of us were pretty sure the Falcons were going to take this one. Turns out Pittsburgh surprised us with 18-10.
That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to sugarcoat it.
We were banking on Russell Wilson taking the reins on this one. Turns out there was a slight cast change at the 11th hour.
Well, also turns out that Kirk Cousins isn't fully healed from his Achilles tear last year, so go figure. Because you could tell watching that game, he was not comfortable dropping back. That's why he was in shotgun the whole game.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he still has a physical limitation or if he's got some mental hang-ups that he's still trying to get over, but you can tell there's something there.
He'll be out and Penix will be starting by probably week 6 at this point.
Las Vegas against the Chargers. We guessed Chargers. We were right. 22-10. Denver.
Did you guys get to watch that game?
No. I watched the highlights of it, but not.
I watched some of it, and I also watched the highlights. Max Crosby never got pressure on Herbert when he lined up against Joe Alt, their rookie tackle.
Yeah.
Those two squared off. I think I saw a thing was they squared off 19 times in that game, and he never once even got a quarterback pressure in 19 snaps on a rookie tackle.
Damn.
And that was their number 5 pick they had in the draft. That was their first round draft pick this year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Denver at Seattle. Seattle, we guess. Seattle won. And now we come to the Cowboys at Cleveland. Yeah, this was an easy call. We nailed this one. I am more surprised that Cleveland put up the 17 than the Cowboys with their 33.
Yeah.
And the sad part is the 33 Dallas they put up, the offense didn't do that much, really.
Yeah, Dak didn't have that great of a game, really, stat-wise anyway.
Because they had short fields every time, so it's like there wasn't that much to do. This is like watching someone play Madden on like Pro.
Commanders at Tampa Bay, 37-20. We were correct.
I also want to say on this one that Baker Mayfield balled out. 80% completion rate. And by far is the best quarterback performance of the week. But I also want to say that I think Jaden Daniels also had a really good game for a rookie. Way better than Caleb Williams. Against a better defense, too.
Oh, that burns. Oh, whiskey in the nose. Okay.
Got him. Yes.
All right. Rams at Detroit. Yep. 26-20 rather. Nailed it.
In overtime. Don't forget that. That was an overtime game.
That was the overtime game. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a nail biter, and then just in overtime, just let them have it.
Yeah.
And now, the Monday Night Football, Jets at San Francisco. This pissed me off so much.
Why? Didn't you pick San Francisco?
No, I had Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy football league.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
And it's like, oh yeah, this is going on, this is going. By the way, Christian McCaffrey's out, and then moving on. It's like, wait, what? What?
Hey, at least you had McCaffrey, man. He's supposed to be back.
I know, a lot of good it did me.
Well, yeah, he's supposed to be back in like a week, maybe 2. Dude, at least you have Jordan Love, and now he's jacked up and gone for probably about half the season.
Yeah.
As far as our predictions, Pete and I had San Fran. Adam had faith in Aaron Rodgers. Misplaced, but he had it.
I mean, I'll give Aaron Rodgers this. He barely had the ball. Like, part of that's his fault.
This wasn't.
But it was more like the defense just couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, this was...
This is also one of those games, too, where it's like Rodgers still played well, and he probably has played better than any Jets quarterback in the last, 7 years, honestly. He's coming off an Achilles tear. Like, he looked way better coming up as Achilles tear than Kirk Cousins did. And he's older than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, we didn't see enough of him for me to make a call and say he's back or anything like that.
He didn't re-tear it after 4 snaps. It's a win.
Yeah, I was excited about that. And I like how they did a 3-and-out first. It was like they were testing the waters.
Right. Yeah, I did watch this game, and this was a good game. I enjoyed it. I mean, in the beginning, like the first half, it was fairly close, and then San Francisco just turned it up after halftime, and the Jets just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I watched most of the game. I watched all the first half, and then I was driving during the third quarter, so I missed most of that, and then I watched the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But
something that I didn't really put together until you just said it. The Jets only had possession of the ball for 21 minutes and 20 seconds of the game over San Francisco's 38-40.
That's crazy. It's almost a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
And I mean, I'll say this too: with McCaffrey being out, nothing missed because their backup running back came in and took over the game.
Yeah.
Purdy had an okay game. Ayuk didn't have a good game at all. Kittle was almost a non-factor. Like, Debo kind of was hit and miss here and there, but their running back kept him in that game. Mason, I think his name is.
Yeah, Tyler Mason.
That's right.
He kept him in that 100%. I think he had 150 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's and that's where that time of possession came in. They rode him and he just ground out the game. And yeah, it was a good game. And this is also why I've got San Francisco as the best team in the NFC. That defense is just stifling.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
The Chargers defense, they're not in the NFC, though.
No.
In the AFC.
All right, so this leads us into our quarterback survivor.
Right.
Now, the first part of this is that we each get to choose a quarterback to be immune from elimination. Peter, who are you giving immunity to?
Super big surprise here, boys. Caleb Williams.
Excellent choice.
He's a rookie. You got to give him a little bit of a break. He had some flashes of good play. He did overthrow a lot of guys. But he had some flashes of some decent play. And they won the game. I understand he basically had no hand in winning of that game. I get it. But at the same time, he didn't lose it for them. Which sometimes that's all you can ask of a quarterback, is to just kind of get out of the way and don't lose the game for us. So, I know he had a bad game. I'm going to give him at least one more week.
Good choice, good choice. Adam, who are you granting immunity to?
So, I was thinking of granting Russell Wilson because we had him as a starter, but he didn't start this week. So I wasn't sure what we were going to do with him. If we would just kind of replace him with Justin Fields, or give him until he actually plays and give him a chance. But I'm actually going to kind of change, and I'm going to pivot, and I'm actually going to. All right, so my immunity is actually going to go to Jaden Daniels.
Daniels, where are you?
Again, we have a rookie in week 1. He actually played well for as bad of a team as they are. And playing as I think a pretty decent Tampa Bay team. I think they're maybe not a top 10, but they're easily between 10 and 15 in the league as a team. And I think playing that well and not by losing by a ton and actually putting up, like I said, decent stats and playing well, I think he deserves to get another week off this.
I'm so proud of us. We're giving these rookies a second chance.
The funny thing is I made a list of 3. And I was thinking about adding Jaden Daniels to it, but I was like, if someone else wants to give him immunity, that's fine. I ain't giving immunity to a commander.
Well, you guys took my 1 and 2 picks, so I will in spite of what Adam said, I'm going to give it to Russell Wilson.
All right.
I feel that he's earned himself enough credit that he needs a second chance, even though he didn't get to play at all. So technically he does have the worst stats of the week, but...
Yeah, fair. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's just proof that he plays on reputation alone.
All right. Now
you know what? There's a lot of players that play on reputation.
Fair.
Okay, so now we choose a quarterback to put on the chopping block. Pete, start us off.
All right, cool. So I am picking Geno Smith, Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh.
That game was disgusting. I watched the highlights. I was literally laughing out loud in the first quarter because there was this one sequence of events where it was like an interception and then they did nothing with it and they punted it and then it was at the 1 yard line and they got a safety and then the Broncos got the ball again and then they went down and then they got intercepted and then Seattle had the game. It was like nobody wanted to win that game in the first half. It was disgusting and they weren't playing in Brazil as an excuse. Like... And Geno Smith started the game off with an interception. Like, it was a terrible performance by both teams. There were 2 safeties in this game. 2 safeties! Like, that's insane!
That's insane for an NFL game, yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Geno is actually on my list of quarterbacks to save.
All right, Adam, who are you putting on the chopping block?
All right, so I am putting on what I think honestly is the worst statistical quarterback this week, and that's Kirk Cousins.
Ah, you took him. Crap.
So his completion percentage wasn't terrible. He went 16 of 26, so he had a 61.5% completion rate. Not terrible, not great, kind of middle of the pack for the NFL. He had 59 total yards passing, but he had a 28.9 QBR rating for this week. That is embarrassing for a man that just signed a $40 million a year contract.
Yep.
And there's no reason that they should have played as poorly as they did. They have a good offensive team in Atlanta. They've got weapons. He doesn't know how to use them. He's out. Like, it's a joke watching him play now. And maybe it's mental from the Achilles tear. Maybe he's still physically not ready to play. Either way, I think he's done. I think we've seen the end of Kirk Cousins in the NFL as a starter.
All right. For me, I noticed that there were only 2 quarterbacks this week that had 2 interceptions. One of them was Kirk Cousins. Thank you, Adam. The other one, I feel Pete would reach through the screen and beat me up if I actually put Jalen Hurts on the list. So
this week, yeah, I definitely would.
So I am going to go with my third choice and put Trevor Lawrence on the list.
Ah.
He was the last person on my list. Good job, Tom.
All right, so between Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, and Geno Smith, we will each get to vote, and as long as we don't get a tie, we'll have probably 2 of us agreeing with somebody. Pete, do you want to start us off with the votes?
Do we want to?
And you can't vote for yourself.
All right, so I'm just gonna say that Kirk Cousins was also on my list to be on the chopping block, so that's why I'm picking him. He's also the last quarterback from the NFC South, so that entire division is eliminated, which it's fitting for that division because it's shit. So, at the same time, Trevor Lawrence was on my list of people to save, and I think he had some pretty good flashes in that game as well, and I think you need to give him a little more credit, and one of those interceptions wasn't even his fault. So, there you go.
All right. So, not being able to pick Kirk Cousins, which is fair, I'm actually going to cast my vote for Trevor Lawrence on this. I've thought that Trevor Lawrence is one of the more overrated players in the NFL since he's come into the NFL. I know he is getting better. I do see that. However, at the same time, I expect him to play better too. At the same time, 57% completion rate and 162 yards passing. It's not going to cut it, man. Not if you want to be a winning quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that might be able to cut it in college, but it's not going to cut it here. So
100%.
I'm kind of done with Trevor Lawrence. I'm done making excuses for Trevor Lawrence. And I think it's time for him to go.
All right. And since I can't vote for Trevor Lawrence because I put him on the chopping block, I just have to say Kirk Cousins was my number one with a bullet. Adam beat me to it. Jeez, man. 2 interceptions, 62% completion rate. Jeez. 1 rush for 0 yards. Sad.
That just means he avoided a sack.
I mean, to be fair, that is what he used to hang his hat on, right? Was, scrambling around, getting free, getting out of the pocket.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, Kirk, if you're listening, you're gone.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
So long to the NFC South.
Yeah, the entire NFC South has now been officially eliminated.
All right. That brings us to our Pro Bowl discussion. Now, this is kind of something I'm springing on you guys, but in 2022, Roger Goodell said that the Pro Bowl, it didn't work. Those were his words. It doesn't work. They need to find another way to celebrate the players. Well, Roger, if I can call you Roger, we 3 humble sports fans are going to solve your problem. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Do you guys believe the Pro Bowl should be AFC versus NFC or more of a non-conference draft, as we've experimented with recently?
To be entirely honest with you, I think the non-conference draft is a more exciting idea than straight up NFC versus AFC, but they have to somehow make me care about the 2 teams better than they have. So, okay. I'm torn.
I like the draft a lot better than AFC versus NFC. And it's one of those things where it's hard to get into the Pro Bowl anymore, or even any All-Star game. It's hard to care about the NBA All-Star game. It's hard to care about baseball's All-Star game. The only one that's actually any good anymore is the NHL. They still have a really, really fun All-Star game, All-Star weekend. Something that I'm glad I think they brought back either this, last season or 2 years ago, was the skills competitions.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching those skills competitions back when I was a kid, and it was so cool to watch those guys doing those skill competitions. As an example, they had, I think they had 6 or 7 quarterbacks, and they were doing who can throw the farthest. You had distance throws, you had accuracy, games. You had just these skills things that these guys could do. It just made it so cool and so fun. But I think the big problem is that they don't advertise it. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even know what was going on until someone told me. And I'm like, wait, they're doing the skills competitions again? Why haven't they said anything? And also I think part of the problem, too, is that the players just don't care anymore. It's not a big deal for them.
Don't get ahead of me here. All right, so if we do a non-conference draft, would you prefer the draft be conducted by a Hall of Fame team captain similar to Leon Sandcastle and Jerry Rice Cake, or Peyton Manning and Tom Brady kind of thing? Or would you be leaning more towards celebrities that are completely unrelated to football. Something on the lines of Kevin Nash versus Dwayne Johnson, or Dolph Lundgren versus Sylvester Stallone, that kind of thing.
So what I would want to see happen if they if they go back to the draft, is that I kind of want it set up the way that the NBA did theirs. I want there to be a captain that's a current player for each team picking his teams.
Ooh.
And I want it to be televised, because then we can see how they value the players going to the Pro Bowl, which can then possibly give you the later guys drafted a chip on the shoulder.
So you want to turn the Pro Bowl into fifth grade recess?
Yes. Tell me that wasn't some of the most confusing, off-the-wall, batshit crazy fun football you ever saw and played.
I mean, fair.
Let feelings get hurt, man, and then let them take it out in the field. That's the point of football.
You know what? I totally agree with you. I'm going to give you a caveat to that, though. All of the players that make it to the Pro Bowl in their respective conferences get to vote a single player as the captain. So they get to choose who the captain is based upon conference, but then he can pick from either conference when he builds his team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I remember the way that the NBA used to do it, they don't do it anymore, but the way that they did it when they did the captains like that was the two players that got the most votes were the captains. Because you had the all-star voting.
That makes sense.
For NBA and everything. So whichever two got the highest fan votes were your captains. And, I mean, it's harder with football because you got a lot more people and a lot more guys. And I don't know if they quite do the fan vote like that for the NFL. It's been a while since I've really looked into the Pro Bowl and how that was all set up. But, yeah, I'm cool with them with the players picking their captain, then the captains can pick from whoever they want.
All right. Kind of on the same vein as recess, what are your thoughts on making the Pro Bowl flag football? Would that just completely destroy it, or is that a viable option?
I think it destroys it because it takes out the linemen.
Ooh, that's true. Good point.
Like there's no point because then you're just skill position players. There's no need for either offense or defensive line or even linebackers almost at that point. Like you need one to cover the tight end, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. All right. What are your thoughts on peripheral events?
Is Pete not going to get a chance to answer that? He's going to fucking skip Pete.
Sorry.
You kind of gave the obvious answer. I was like, I don't know how you fix that problem, because that's the problem I have too. What do you do with the linemen?
Yeah.
And it's like, you say, okay, you nominate the linemen and they can be the cheerleaders and they'll be the bottom of the pyramid, I guess. I don't know. Like, I see the wisdom in making it flag football,
mm-hmm.
because there's less likely for injury. But at the same time, part of big plays are big hits, and you're going to lose that entirely. So defense is just going to look like schmucks anyway. I don't know how you fix it without making it tackle football.
I mean, you could maybe put in flag football as an event that happens during the Pro Bowl weekend.
Fair enough. Yeah, and the alternates get to play.
Yeah, either the alternates or the guy, you can make a team of guys that didn't make the Pro Bowl, but they get to play in a flag football game or something.
Right.
Again, you still cut out the linemen, but you could do something like that more than the actual Pro Bowl itself.
Speaking of peripheral events, what are your thoughts on the pros playing an alternate sport, such as Patrick Mahomes and baseball, dodgeball, that kind of thing?
This is not pros versus Joes, okay? Move on and keep it at football.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, we're not making a circus here.
Not yet. Give me time.
If you're going to do the peripheral stuff, keep it football related.
Okay. Does the Pro Bowl need to be held in Hawaii, or are other venues open for debate?
See, that I'm torn with, because to me, Hawaii is just a cool place to go play football and really a cool place to go in general. But to make it more accessible to fans, it's so expensive to go to Hawaii. If you want to make it more accessible accessible to fans, I think it's better to keep it kind of moving around the country, honestly. You kind of have it in different places every year, like you do the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I mean, Hawaii was great. And when was the last time a professional football game was played in Hawaii at this point?
And 16, I think?
Yeah. And when was the last time a professional football game was played in Alaska at the same time? So, like, there are states that don't get football games, I suppose. But at the same time, like, this might be an outreach spot. Maybe instead of moving it around the country, you send the Pro Bowl overseas, and, like, you always put it in some place tropical and exotic, and, like, the players get to go on a vacation, and that's part of the thing you get out of the Pro Bowl. You get a paid vacation to Tahiti, and you get to play a game at their Coliseum, and, you know, foreign fans show up, and
have the exact same and have the exact same problem that you do with soccer stadiums and have them slip everywhere during the Pro Bowl.
I mean, make it flag football and forget the linemen. I don't know. Have them play soccer instead. I'm just saying it's a spot that, like, maybe you could change it up a little bit, because I don't think people want to go to the Pro Bowl. It's like preseason. It's like the only people who want to go to a preseason game are people who have never been to a football game, and they're like, fuck it, it's preseason, I'll go. Like,
or they live in that city.
Right, or they live in that city, and maybe they have season tickets, or know a guy who has season tickets and gives out their season tickets because they don't want to go to the Pro Bowl or the preseason. And it's like, that's the same thing with the Pro Bowl. It's like, who wants to go? And I guess if you made it more of a destination, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of you, so we'll stop there. I'm just saying, it could be an idea to move it from country to country instead of state to state. Is all I'm getting at.
I did not know this, but apparently it's a thing at the Pro Bowl that each team adopts a charity, and depending on certain things that happen in the Pro Bowl game, money is donated to that charity via either the NFL Foundation or other benefactors. Is that something that you think helps the Pro Bowl, hurts the Pro Bowl, nobody cares? It's a point.
I think you kind of prove the point where nobody cares because they don't say anything. Like, they don't. Again, it comes back to they don't tell us.
Yeah,
like, you've got to go looking for this kind of information.
This is what they did to get Facebook moms to try to convince their other Facebook moms to become football fans. And they're like, but look, this charity that we both like, they donate to it in the Pro Bowl. Like, that is the only people this is for. And you can keep it there because you're not doing anything wrong. And at least there's a market for it. It might be 3 Facebook moms in the entire country that give a shit, but, like, that's all it's for.
Yeah, honestly, it really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of the actual Pro Bowl. It's cool they do that. Honestly, if you're going to do that, expand that for the season.
Ooh.
Like, set up goals for teams. Like, every team picks a foundation or a charity that they would donate to. And if you reach certain milestones throughout the season, or things happen throughout the season and playoffs, you get more and more money for that by way of the NFL Foundation. And you can't pick the NFL Foundation as your charity.
Yeah, I mean, when you were saying it, I was coming up with a million reasons why that was wrong. But, like, baseball already does this, right? It's like, for every time there's a home run hit in the 8th quarter, idiot, 8th inning, we'll donate $100 to some charity.
Yeah.
You know, they do the same thing. Like, for every interception Darius Slay gets this year, we'll give $1,000 to Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Right, yeah. Something like that. It's like, it's so easy to do something like that, and the teams have enough money they can do it easily. 100%. Like, it's not that they're hurting their pockets for it at all. And it's something that's cool, and promote it too. It's good PR for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get those conspiracy nuts who are going to be like, well, people just wanted Darius Slay's charity to win, so they let him score 2 extra interceptions.
So
what?
So charity gets an extra $2,000.
Well, it changes the way of the game, man. Now the Eagles are winning.
Don't take it so seriously, man. It's a goddamn game. Like, I'm sorry. As much as I love football and sports, it's a game. It doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of life.
I mean, fair enough. But we are still sitting around having a podcast talking about that game while wearing jerseys as if we played.
Right. I'm not saying that you're wrong about that. I'm just saying that, I mean, I'm not upset of who wins and loses. Do I want Dallas to win? Absolutely. Am I going to let it ruin my day or my week and get, slobbery drunk because they lost? No.
I mean, I definitely let it ruin my day. I don't get slobbery drunk
That's
anymore.
the Philadelphia way.
It won't ruin my week, but it will ruin the rest of my day. That is for damn sure. The Eagles
it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's cool that it's around. It's so much fun to watch and play some here and there. But in the end, it's a game. It's not that important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life that are a lot more important.
Fair.
All right, Adam, you touched on this earlier, but now I'm going to get into less about the Pro Bowl itself, but more the surrounding peripheral events. Skill challenges. Do you think skill challenges are a net bonus to the Pro Bowl event, or is it just icing on the cake, fluff, doesn't really matter?
I mean, it's obvious. It's a bonus by far. It makes things more fun. And I know I kind of touched on it earlier. Something else I think would be even cooler to do is if you take other position groups and make them do stuff outside their position groups. Like for the quarterback long throw, have offensive linemen do it. I want to see those dudes go chuck a ball. Or a kicker's accuracy contest. Go have the linebackers do it. I want to see other I want to see positions like that do stuff that they don't normally do on a football field, and just see how good they can do. Who's versatile? Who can do multiple things for a team? Plus, this can show teams, oh, hey, if we get in a pinch, 3-4 guys are injured, we could throw them in for a play or two. Maybe we can get something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing is if you're going to do the skills challenges, you got to have some kind of reward system.
Yeah.
And, that's my biggest problem with the skills challenges. It's fun to watch them do it, but it's if they're not winning anything, the game means nothing, the skill challenges mean nothing. Why am I turning it on?
Pete, I couldn't agree with you more. And that what brings me to the final segment of our Pro Bowl proposal to Roger Goodell. I am proposing a combine-style challenge called Win Roger Goodell's Money. You have Roger Goodell come out on stage really playing up the villain role, maybe even give him a monocle. I don't know. It'd be cool. What you do is you have him come out and say, I'm Roger Goodell and I'm better than you. I'll put up $1 million of my money to say that you cannot complete these 10 challenges, and just have 10 challenges. The winner of each challenge wins $100,000. Accuracy challenge: hit 5 targets. This is aimed at quarterbacks, but as Adam said, it'd be really cool if a lineman won it. Field goal challenge: start at 40 yards, move at 5-yard increments until someone is the last man standing. Bench press: 225 pounds. Keep adding weight till someone wins. 40-yard
Kicker's got to participate in that one.
My personal favorite is number 6 and 7 are brought to you by the U.S. Army. Push-ups, the most you can do in 20 minutes. If you can do 49, you get the Army Ranger Award, because that's what they make the Army Rangers do in training.
Wait, hold on. 49 push-ups in 20 minutes?
2 minutes. Sorry, did I say 20?
That's so. I was 20. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I can do as many push-ups as an Army Ranger.
I was going to say,
awesome.
I'm like, boy, that's a really low bar for the Rangers.
My apologies. 2 minutes. The most push-ups you can do in 2 minutes. If you hit 49, you get the Army Ranger Award. If you can hit 80, you get the Phase 2 Army Ranger Award. That's like when they graduate. Sit-ups, most you can do in 2 minutes. 59 gets you the Army Ranger Award. 80 in 2 minutes gets you the graduating Army Ranger Award, which I thought was crazy. 80 in 2 minutes? Wow.
So does that mean that if they get the Army Ranger Award, they get bonus money?
I think it's less about the money and more they probably get someone to come out from the Army Rangers and give them an award and get a nice little photo op, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
mile run. Personal favorite, the hang time competition. You can either throw or kick a ball in the air. Timer starts when you lose contact with the ball, and the time stops when it hits the ground. Longest time wins.
Oh, I like that one.
That'd be actually really cool,
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And the last event, I call it the tractor pull. The runner is tied to the end of a long, heavy chain that is laid in a zigzag. And if you've ever lifted weights with a chain, you know the further you go, the straighter that chain gets, the more weight you're pulling. So whoever goes the furthest wins.
Why don't you just put like a car or something on it and make him drag it for so long?
I thought we
Along
might be
with the
stepping
chain.
on the strongest man competition toes if we did that, but yeah. So, Roger Goodell, if you're listening, think about it. Get back to us. We'll keep in touch.
So I gotta add a caveat to this one, right?
Okay.
I need Goodell to have a subplot where he has hired someone to fuck with them.
Oh!
So, like, when they're going around to throw the targets, like, a Snidely Whiplash character shows up and just, like, moves the target right to the left before they throw.
I forgot another part of this, is that Roger Goodell is going to have 10 suitcases of money with $100,000 in each suitcase, and then you get a Hall of Famer defensive player to, be the muscle, the security guard. I'm thinking like John Randall for the first year, but we'll iron out the details later.
Is he still alive?
I hope so. This would be really poor taste if he wasn't.
How long have you been working on this pitch? You got a lot of specifics, buddy.
Far more time than I should have, I must admit.
I mean, if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
We'll even charge only a small consulting fee. We won't charge you that much either. I mean, think about it, guys. Think about it. With this, we can get jobs at NFL Central in New York.
All right. Well, that is the end of the Pro Bowl section. Any final comments before we wrap it up?
Dude, I gotta say, there were some pretty cool things, and it would actually make the Pro Bowl, I think, a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And, like, as far as like the decathlon style like Pro Bowl events, I think so. This is where the different groups have to do stuff. Like the quarterbacks can't do the accuracy challenge; it has to be somebody else. Like defense or offensive linemen can't do the bench press. It's got to be like either like running back or secondary. Maybe kicker if you want to get really gruesome and just mean. I mean, like this is where that comes into too. That you can combine those. Like the sit-ups. Yeah, the sit-ups and push-ups have to be a kicker or a punter.
I would just be curious how many NFL players can actually do like legit sit-ups. I mean, some of them are a little soggy around the midsection. I don't know.
I mean, have you seen Ezekiel Elliott's 8-pack?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, good point. Yeah, Zeke would crush it.
I'm betting
going
like
for the Armored Ranger award.
Like most of the skill position players would probably do it.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I'm betting most of your offensive, defensive linemen could do the push-ups. It just the sit-ups might cause them some problems.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to find guys. It also depends on who gets drafted to the Pro Bowl because these are all Pro Bowl players.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be guys that go to the Pro Bowl. So, all right. I think we got time for one more, and something we kind of mentioned on the last episode. We're still kind of doing the Shohei Ohtani watch at this point. Kind of still random, but in checking in with today, in today's recording, he's sitting at 46 home runs and 47 stolen bases with, I think we said 17 games left in the season.
Oh,
so he can still fairly easily get to that. So we could see the first ever 50-50.
In about an hour, Game 17 is going to start.
Oh,
okay. Because I think they're out in L.A., aren't they, tonight? think they're at home.
Yeah, I think they're at home.
So
yeah,
so they start at 7. So yeah, LA time 7 o'clock. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it's going to be kind of cool to see that. It almost makes you want to watch baseball. If I had a way to watch baseball,
right? That's the problem. I don't even know how. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
It's not on ESPN. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on Peacock. Every now and then I'll get some games on HBO, but that's kind of few and far between.
Yeah.
See, I hope he make some progress tonight because he's about to hit a 7-game away streak. He has 7 away games in a row coming up after tonight.
Where are they playing?
The Braves for 4 of them and the Marlins for the other 3, but all 7 are away games.
Yeah, Miami's not great, so with that pitching, he might be able to get it. I was going to say, if he was playing in Colorado, he'd have a lot better chance of getting home runs because Colorado's a hitter-friendly ballpark. So,
but
yeah.
Next week's podcast will be right just after the second Marlins game, so hopefully we'll have good news for you.
Hopefully we'll be getting a little bit closer. But yeah, that's about it for that, and I think that's about it for tonight, unless you guys got something else you want to bring up.
I have one more thing, and it's just to rub salt in the wound of Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois. Screw you, Fighting Irish.
You know what the best part of them losing to Northern Illinois was? Besides the fact that the number 5 team in the nation dropped to the number 18 after that.
An unrated move to 25.
They paid Northern Illinois $1.4 million to come play them. So basically, Notre Dame paid Northern Illinois $1.4 million to come and beat them on their home field on national television.
That's hilarious.
And I gotta say one thing. If I hear one more person giving the Notre Dame kicker grief for losing the game, I'm just going to say, screw you, because you were trying to give that poor kid a 62-yard field goal to save your ass. There's NFL kickers who can't pull that off.
They're just like all NFL kickers. Yeah.
You got one job, man. Just kick the ball. You got to get it in there.
62 yards.
You got one job, man. I have no opinion whatsoever. I don't care about college football slightly.
All right. And on that embarrassing note of the Irish, I think that's going to be about it for this week's episode. Unless you guys got anything else you want to throw in real quick.
Go Birds!
That's it for me.
All right. Well, this is going to be the end of our episode, guys. We are on YouTube. We are also on Spotify. Hopefully, coming soon, we'll be on Amazon Music as well as Apple Podcasts as well. We are waiting for that to go through, but we do have the episodes going live. Hopefully, this will be our first YouTube episode, and we can't wait to see you guys later. Till next week. Peace out, guys.
Later.
Peace.